One former agent speaking out for the very first time, telling Chris Hansen it was all part of Kamala's vision to reimagine policing.
It was the beginning of fentanyl. We were just starting to see it. It had been around for many years, but it had started to increase. And we warned her, this is going to get out of control if you abolish the agents that are tackling it. And it went on deaf ears. The motivation behind it was political. Her words were policing reimagined.
Kamala didn't care. Attorney General was just a pit stop for her. She had her eyes on something bigger.
Sometimes appears that she's treating you like you know nothing. And then other times it's very controlling. We were told that when she took office by some of the people that were on her team, that this was just a stopping point. The Attorney General's position was just a stopping point for her on her way to the White House, that she had eyes on the White House way back in 2011.
Wow. Host of Takedown on True Blue, Chris Hansen. This appeared to be a very aggressive dismantling of the police departments.
It was. And the real problem by dismantling the B&E is that the B&E had 50 task forces, Jesse, around the state of California. Each one of them worked with different police departments, different sheriff's departments. So we're talking about dozens and dozens of investigations and potential arrests thwarted. And all this happened in the very early stages of fentanyl. And what happens in California, because of its proximity to Mexico, affects the rest of the nation.
Did she ever explain why she wanted to just obliterate these anti-drug sale task forces?
There were different answers to different questions. So in one, you would hear, this is the reimagination of policing. Two, it was the thought that we need to do more for treatment and addiction. But here's the thing. You know who did a lot for treatment and addiction? Law enforcement, who arrested people for drug charges, who were then forced by the court to get treatment, who then came back and told law enforcement, thank you for cleaning up my life, as opposed to being released and continuing to walk around the streets of San Francisco like zombies because they're addicted to fentanyl.
You have to hit rock bottom sometimes to bounce back up. You also spoke to the former LA DA. Let's listen to that.
Some people say she's failed up. She was a lousy deputy district attorney in Alameda County. She was no great shakes as the deputy district attorney in San Francisco County, where when she got there, all she wanted to do was run against the incumbent. There's nothing impressive about her as a San Francisco district attorney. That's when things started to deteriorate in San Francisco with her as the DA. And as Attorney General, I've heard her described by many people who know the system, know the players, as being the worst Attorney General in their lifetime.
The worst in their lifetime?
Well, you see the statistics. What happened when she was in office and afterwards? And again, as you know, because we've reported on this here on this show, Jesse, San Francisco, when it comes to fentanyl, is ground zero. For every crime facing America today, illegal immigrants, Hondurans, running the heroin and fentanyl trade, shipping the money back to Honduras, building mansions, and then when they're arrested because it's a sanctuary city, nothing happens.
Well, Chris Hansen, the only one really digging around Kamala in California. You don't see any other mainstream media reporters out there when you're asking questions, do you?
Well, you're going to see more of this because this is just the beginning of some of the reporting that we're doing. And all of this comes from our initial investigation into the merchants of death, the fentanyl trade.
And it does connect to her in power there as fentanyl was beginning to hit the American streets. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. Chris Hansen, True Blue, check him out. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.